And welcome back everybody to Evan's Retirement Retreat. In today's video, I want to go over my 2025 spending, which also happens to mirror my 2026 spending as well. So they're pretty much very similar. 2026 will be my second year in retirement. 2025 was my first year in retirement. I think you'll enjoy today's video because I know lots of times people ask me, Evan, how frugal are you? What are your expenses every single month? And I usually tell them that I don't really track monthly expenses per se. I look at the entire year. This was a strategy that I learned many, many years ago, like back in 2005, 2006. I was first getting my feet wet with personal finance, and I said to myself, I really need to figure out 12 full months rather than just one little month at a time, because I really needed to see the big picture and not just small increments. So when I build a budget, I basically start with an Excel spreadsheet. It's very simple. I put my expenses on the left, then I create columns, January, February, March, April, May, all the way to December. And then I have a total column as well. Then I build macros so that it adds all those numbers up so you can see clearly on the right how much you have going out for each individual expense. Then I also have an in column on the right, and I put in my salary that I was making for many years, a bonus, and any other money I had coming in. And then I would create some macros at the very bottom of the spreadsheet that would net to zero. So I'll be talking about my 5-year plan probably coming up in the next several videos to give you more of an orientation to money that I have for spending in the next 5 years. But my first year of retirement, I'm pretty much using my money market. So I had money in my Ally savings account as well as CDs. So the very first expense I have on the left of my spreadsheet is my condo association fee. That's approximately, it was $575. I'm actually looking at my 2026 budget right now. Again, they're very similar. There was just like a $500 or $600 differential. I have $7,178 because in 2026 it's going to $598 per month. So on the far right of my spreadsheet, I see $7,178. I paid off my condo in 2019. I bought it in 2003 for $100,000. Then comes the Great Recession. The value of the property goes down. I live in Florida, I think I told you. So through the recession, things went down quite a bit. Even by 2012, when I was a guest on the Susie Orman show, the value of my condo was $50,000. I owed about $50,000. So it was a net to zero in my net worth at that time. But paying it off was really one of the big financial wins that I had, my career of building wealth. And so I don't have a mortgage, I just have my condo association fee. For electric, I have $840. So it's roughly $70 per month. I have Humana Dental. So in my first year of retirement, 2025, I went to Marketplace to get health insurance. I qualified for zero, but now when I do my taxes in April of 2026 for 2025, my income was actually more than I had anticipated. So stay tuned and I'll share that with you. So in retrospect, I really didn't get zero because I have to pay a lot of that back. But as far as my initial budget for 2025, my healthcare is zero, but my Humana Dental was about $18 or $19 a month. So I'm working on my 2026 budget right now. It's pretty much very close to being solidified. At the time that I'm recording this, it's leading into 2026. So it's going to be about $228 for dental. For food, gas, and fun, I have that listed on my spreadsheet next. So for food, I pay myself about $120 a week. I'm single. So it's $62.40 per year. Gas, about $15 a week, $7.80 per year. I give myself what I call Fund 1, meaning I'll probably always spend Fund 1 either for the weekend if I'm doing something and or using that for extra food if I need it. I can borrow from different buckets. So I pay myself $40 a week. That's $2,080 per year. I have a miscellaneous line item here for things like my LA Fitness, my gym membership that I mentioned to you, YouTube Premium. I don't like to watch ads on YouTube. My air conditioning maintenance plan, Amazon Prime, Paramount, the app. I don't like to watch commercials. I have one Paramount app for streaming. I don't have cable and I don't subscribe to Netflix or any other services. So that comes to about $11.48 per year. So I put that all in one line item. The next item I have is open to buy for fun. I have $4,664 listed here. So let me pause for a second, because you add that to the other fund of $2,080, so it's really like $16,000 or $17,000. That may not seem like a lot of money for many of you if you're spending quite a bit for fun and other, but you just have to remember, as a very frugal person, when I was building wealth, I really didn't spend more than about $5,000 per year, maybe $6,000 per year on fun and other. I've never spent more than about $600 on any one vacation through the years. So again, to put that into perspective, if I'm bumping up my fun for 2025 and 2026 to $16,000 or $17,000, that's triple what I was paying myself over all of these years in the past. For some of you that are spending a lot more money, you may not be comfortable with this kind of a frugal budget. For me, my motto was I've got to save as much as I can during the years that I had the income coming in. Next on my list, I have condo insurance, $2,025. I actually have two policies. I have one through Universal for just regular homeowners insurance. I have a flood policy through FEMA. So right through there is very close to the water here in Tampa. In 2024, we had Hurricane Helene that came through and flooded most of the units in my community, except for my building. I got very lucky. The water came up right up to my patio and stopped. But in the 24 years that I've lived here, we've never had any flooding. So that was one and only, hopefully, going into the future, although I'm pretty nervous about that. I may have mentioned that before in a previous video, that I do have money set aside for disaster recovery, even though FEMA, if it does flood in the future, would probably pay for everything. In fact, I got a hold of the information from 2024 through the condo association, and the units that were this size, one bedroom, had claims in the amount of about $60,000 to $70,000. So I would essentially front the money to get new flooring, drywall, appliances, and things that you need, and then I would hopefully be reimbursed through FEMA. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. The last time that Tampa experienced a really bad hurricane was 1921 as far as a direct hit. Helene was not a direct hit, nor was Milton in 2024. Milton landed south of here. So Tampa is still thinking, okay, we're going to get the big one someday, like a 1921, and it hasn't happened yet. So I have been wanting to maybe move to higher ground. Stay tuned to the channel. Keep coming back, because I may move. I'm not sure yet. Or I may just ride the risk. I've been here this many years. If it happens, it happens. I'll deal with it then, I think is better than living in fear and making a change to disrupt my life. And in fact, I love it here, so why should I do that? In fact, I was stressing about it so much that I asked ChatGPT, what is the risk, a 3 to 4 or 5% chance per year of another Helene even coming through and doing that much flooding in the Tampa Bay area? So I think I'm just going to stay, see what happens, but it does make me nervous. That's why I have this insurance. And I have money set aside, as I told you, of which I could use for disaster recovery if necessary. So for condo insurance is about $2,000 a year, again, for my universal policy and for FEMA. Property tax, $620 a year, pretty low. I pay that in November. My condo is homestead exempted, and so yeah, it's probably a lot cheaper than others. Taxes seem to be going up for property as well as insurance. I know I feel bad for people that have single homes that have to pay all of that insurance on their own. At least in a condo community like this with about 108 units, we can spread that amongst all of the unit owners as far as our association fees. But yeah, it's expensive to live in Florida these days, but I've kept things pretty simple, so for me, not so much. My car insurance through Geico, about $800 a year, and my cell phone through Visible, believe it or not, is about $300 per year. I don't have internet. I stream from my phone, my iPad, and my MacBook Air, and I use my cell phone as a hotspot to get to the internet if I have to. When I upload YouTube videos, I just ride my bike to Panera Bread and I upload it from there. So if we add all of that up, it's approximately $36,903, which is my operating budget, which again includes fun and other. But I have not yet determined for 2026 if I'm going to have healthcare premiums, so stay tuned. I'll share information about that at the time that I'm recording this video. We still, of course, don't know if the premiums, the enhanced subsidies, are going to stay. But for 2025, it's pretty much was my budget, because as I mentioned, 2025 and 2026 are pretty much the same for me. Okay, so looking at the numbers here then, for $36,903 for 2026 as well as 2025 pretty much. Critical expenses is $19,000. Discretionary for fun and other is $16,422. So I think that's pretty frugal. Again, however, I'm spending so much more for experiences for fun and other in 2025 that I already spent, as well as going into the future as well. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode on my expenses for 2025 and 2026. Stay tuned. I'll be sharing more information with you as we move forward. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys next time.